Hello and welcome to this week's episode of My CP Does Not Define Me, where we focus less on the dis and more on the ability of what we can do. Join us every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, live on the Disability Global Broadcast and Facebook Live. Looking forward to seeing you there.
Hey, what's up, party people? It is that time again. It's Wednesday, September the 29th, and it's time for episode. Yeah, CP is acting up already this morning. Episode 67 of My CP Does Not Define Me, and I am D to the J with the roll away. Hello, everybody, as you come into the show. Now, let me give you a quick update of what is going on right now. Now, I had a guest this week. Unfortunately, me, Mr. DJC, did not do a flyer. That falls on me. I'll take that responsibility. And as I was getting my guest ready to come on the show, she had a family emergency and had to dip out. So it is all me, dressed up in my hot red hot tie, and it's time to go do or die. So it's all with me today. Y'all got me all by myself. We are live on the Disability Global Broadcast. We are live on Facebook. We are live all around the world, everywhere. And we are going with our socks on because that's what I got right now. I got other stuff on too, y'all. I'm not just wearing socks, as you can see. I just want to let y'all know. So this one is going to be a little bit different. I've had a show on the back burner, or shall I say, put on the back burner for a while. And I've wanted to do this show. I really wanted to do it, with the guests, but I'm going to go ahead and pull it now because I think it's a good time. I'm going to be doing a show today on actions and consequences. And this is not just with cerebral palsy. Now, there are a lot of actions and consequences for everything that happens. There's always an action and consequence. There's an action when we fall. There's a consequence when we fall. There's an action when we say something we shouldn't. There's an action when we talk back to our parents when we're young. There's an action when we don't do our chores. Now, with CP, the action and consequences, sometimes that line is somewhat blurred. I basically, I might be able to get us a guest here if you give me just a minute. Actually, she just popped up here. Let me send it real quick. Give me a minute, because I want to see if I can get her up here, because I believe that it would be a good idea to have her in on this because she's just good like that. Give me a second. Let me send her the link. Give me a second, and y'all bear with me. I'm live on the air and I'm trying to do 12 things at one time. I love y'all. Stay with me just a second. I got to get the link. Hold on. Let me invite, copy. And I'm doing this while I'm on the air, so y'all just hang on just a minute. I'm trying to go back to it. Okay, now copy and paste. And let me see if I can. There we go. All right, so hopefully we can get her up here. If not, I totally understand. I'll just go by myself. No big deal. The reason I want to do this and the reason I want to talk about it is because actions and consequences with CP, not a lot of people think about that. Hey, Nikki, I want to welcome everybody to the show as you come in, and thank y'all for being here. So you think of action and consequences. It's usually when you hear action and consequence, you think of people doing something wrong. Okay, an action and a consequence is not necessarily doing something wrong. It's often when you do something right. Now, I'm going to let y'all chew on that fat for a little bit. Hey, Sean, how y'all doing? Because when you chew on something and you marinate the flavor, An action and consequence doesn't always involve the action of something that you've done wrong. Hey Josie, how are you? So let's go into CP for a minute, and let me I'm gonna kind of tell on myself a little bit. As y'all know, I'm 39 years old, looking as good as I want to look, and dressed up as I choose to be. Okay. So I sometimes I dress up for my shows and sometimes I don't. Okay. Now I want to talk about an action and consequence first of all that my boss lady, my boss mama, told me about when you present yourself for an organization. Now, how is that an action and consequence? See, you think about it. We get up every day, we do our thing, we wash our face, we brush our teeth, we do what we do. Okay, we go and we say things and we present ourselves in the way that we know how. But when you work with an organization, now there's a key word here, with an organization, not for. It's a big difference. When you work with an organization, you have people around you and your team. When you work for an organization, you work for somebody, okay? And you're putting your nose to the grindstone and they telling you what to do, and you may be getting paid for it, you may not. You may volunteer, you may do a little here, you may do a little on the side, you may do a little more. You may be do so much, you may be do a lot of stuff and you may be taken advantage of. You got to be careful with bosses, because when you work for somebody, they can get you in over a barrel and they can keep you and you don't even realize it. It's like, man, I've been working for this job for so long that I don't know what to do. I'm doing what I do and I love my job, but it just seems like it keeps getting bigger and bigger and faster and more and more. See, here's the thing. But when you work with an organization and you present yourself out there and you put your best will forward or you put your best foot forward, here's what you do. You represent that organization with everything you say, everything you do, everything you show, and everything you are. Now, the action and consequence, okay? Hindsight 2020. A lot of times when we have a consequence, we don't see something until it's too late. Until we make the mistake, until we've done something wrong. But boy, when we see it, does it come back to bite us in the butt. Okay. Come on, get up here, mama. I'm talking to you now. I realize that sometimes you have to learn when not to say something or when not to do something, because it's basically you're fighting with yourself. Okay. I've been called a leader in a lot of places. Okay. I've been called a leader when I do an event. I've been called a leader when I lead a group. I've been called a leader when I go to present myself or do a speech on the Disability Global broadcast on Facebook Live. Everything that I do, I always put my best will forward. Now, the problem with that is, so you can't please everybody. That's the thing about life. When you have a topic that you talk about, not everybody's going to like it. Not everybody's going to understand it. Not everybody is even going to agree with it. But when you are passionate about that topic and you know what you are talking about, it becomes more than just a topic to you. It becomes a lifestyle. It becomes something that you believe in and something that you want to get out in the air. And the problem is when you have somebody try to tell you different or to knock you down, the problem with knocking you down is if they're going to knock me down, they better keep me down. Okay? Because it's not when you get hit and you fall. The question is, will you get back up? Now, the great thing about working with Kelly's Choice Cares and the action is and consequences, I'm not always right. Okay? I may not do things exactly right the right way, but the consequences are I have teachers and I have quote unquote bosses that are willing to work with me and guide me, because everybody needs guidance in life. Okay. You ever heard somebody say this? How many times you gonna touch a stove before it's hot? Okay. But if you don't know, and if you're young and you're trying to learn, your life becomes a balancing act. And when you have a disability on top of that, it's different. Okay. You have to balance your disability, and then you have to balance your life, because you got to understand your disability first, and accept yourself and what your disability brings for those actions and those consequences. Now, when it comes to CP, let me tell you the actions and consequences I'm talking about. Everybody has a dominant side, and then they have a good side. Your dominant side is the side that you use the most. And everybody usually says, I have a dominant side and I have a bad side. See, I don't like saying that. One thing my mother taught me is don't speak negativity into your life. And I'm saying that because you learn that with negativity, you give room for the enemy to take that mile. You give the enemy an inch, he's going to take a mile. I'm telling you, hey, Josh, how you doing? Hey, Aaron, how you doing? Thank y'all for coming into the show. I appreciate it. So we're talking about, so for instance, when I get dressed, I have to start with my left side, okay? Because my left side is my dominant side. If I start with my right side, my dominant side tries to take over automatically, and it makes me twist, and I can't dress right. Pant leg all twisted, pants all twisted, pants come on backwards. I ain't even trying to hear all that, because it's just different. There are actions and consequences with CP. Same thing when you try to get in your chair. When I transfer, I have to transfer from left to right. Okay. Now, I know that sounds odd, because my left side is my dominant side, but when I'm holding on to a handrail, it's again from left to right, because the dominant side has to push off. Now, the action and consequence there is, if I transfer from left to right, I'm good for getting on the toilet. But when you come off, you got to transfer from right to left, because it's opposite, because that's where your chair is sitting. But the consequences is everything wants to lock up when you try to do it the opposite way. So you have to kind of train your body and breathe through every technique that you do with CP. You have to learn how to transfer yourself. You have to learn what hurts and what doesn't. And a lot of people can give you advice. Try it this way. Have you tried this? I tell you, one of the greatest things in my household is a reacher, but I got 4 of them, because the question that I ask myself, and I had to learn real quick, is what happens when you drop the reacher that you're working with? You got to get another reacher to pick up the reacher you done dropped. See, those are actions and consequences that you got to prepare for. What about the ones you can't? What do you do when you fall out of your chair? Do you have a medical alert? Do you have a speakerphone close by? Do you have a neighbor? Do you have the fireman on speed dial? All these things are things that you want to think about, because with actions come consequences. We're not saying we're going to fall, but with CP, sometimes it happens. And you have to prepare yourself throughout the day for those actions and for those consequences. One thing I do when I'm sitting in my living room, during the day until I go to bed, I keep my door unlocked. Why? A reacher is basically, that's a good question, Siobhan. Let me pull that up real quick. Okay. So basically it's a metal or aluminum pole, and it has a claw on the end of it. Okay. Now the claw on the end of it has this little handle up at the top where when you squeeze the handle, it basically closes the claw. When you let go of the handle, it opens it so you can pick up stuff off the floor without having to bend over. Okay. But what I was talking about, I leave my door unlocked until I go to bed. Now, luckily, I have Emily and Marshall in my house. But what happens if they go to the store, okay, and I'm by myself? What happens if I fall and I need to, call the fire department to help me get up? Well, one thing is you leave your door unlocked. You don't have to have them kick down your door, okay? I have my phone with me. All I have to do is ask Siri to do something for me, and she'll do it. And I'll say on speaker, and regardless of where my phone is, I can actually talk. Now, my phone is at my side or on my stand almost all the time. Okay? So again, preparing for these actions and consequences are vital. Okay? One of the things that you can also do is tie a very stiff string to your lock. If you have a lock that's just a turn lock, you can tie a string around it and literally pull that string one way to unlock your door and one way to lock it. Okay? That's a way to, because our apartment has the pull handle doors where you can, you don't have to reach up and pull the pull handle, just get a string and pull that down and open the door for them. So if you still want to lock the door, you have that option. Okay? All right, so here's the thing. What about, what about rolling over your own feet? Now, people don't think a lot about this, or some may not. What do you do when you roll over your own foot in your chair? Trust me, I've done it. I know some of you are going, how in the world does this dude roll over his own feet? What in the world does this have to do with actions and consequences? Okay, the action is rolling over your own foot. The consequences is the heck of a lot of pain you get after a 300-pound chair with my big butt sitting in it, more like 500, rolls over your own foot. But the reason that my feet sometimes slide behind my footrest, the problem is, for us to move, or for me to move, my feet have to be in a certain spot. Okay. So if my feet are in a certain spot and I can move, that's fine. But when I'm wearing socks, my feet slip back because my footrests are not rough. My footrests are smooth, and sometimes my feet go behind my footrest. And if I'm not thinking and I go to move and my feet are behind my footrest, I roll over my own foot. Therefore, action and consequence of rolling over my own foot, I hurt myself. Now let me. Well, and feet straps. See, I had feet straps on my chair. Okay. The problem with feet straps is they stop your foot from going so far back. The problem is where they put them, you can't adjust them, and you can't set your feet up to move like you want to move. So I took them off. I know it's my own fault. Actions and consequences. I get that. Siobhan says, being funny. I'm sorry, I'm not being funny, but I don't understand rolling over your own feet. Is that a thing? Yeah, you know what? It has been a thing ever since I've been small. I know Josh said he's been there. Trust me, at camp, we used to play wheelchair football all the time. Rolling over your own foot. It is a possibility, and it does hurt. It is a thing. So just to answer that question, Miss Siobhan, it is a thing. So yes, most chairs, most manual chairs, and even power chairs come with feet straps. But the problem with the feet straps is it's so daggone big, and they put them back as far as they can, but they don't really realize, because the person coming in putting the foot strap is walking, they don't realize how cumbersome and how much the foot strap stops your movement. Like, I understand what they're trying to do, but for me, it just doesn't make a big thing. So but there's actions and consequences there. Let me move forward a little bit. Let's see. Talking about driving, and I'll go ahead. Yeah, that's a Josh. That's a good point too. Now, usually to keep them from falling off, there's a screw on the bottom of the foot plate which holds the foot strap in place. And if you tighten that, the little loop that it goes around should hold it on. But I want to move on to driving for a second. Now, this is, I told you, actions and consequences, not just necessarily driving. Not just necessarily with CP. So let me move forward a little bit. Understand, okay, that this is not a I'm going to try to push somebody into something phrase. In your life, you have to make a decision. I'll get to this comment in just a second, Sean. Thank you for sharing this. In life, you have a choice. You can sit there or you can figure out how to get it done. Because I can guarantee you, eventually, nobody's going to do it for you. You're going to have times where people will help you, but you're going to be in situations where they can't. And you're going to be on your own and have to figure stuff out for yourself. I almost said something on the Disability Global broadcast that I shouldn't say, but I kept it clean. Thank you, Jesus. Now, here's the thing. We all have to get from point A to point B. Okay? Sean said this. I've ran over my feet so many times I can't even tell you. So have my compassions that have pushed me around in my wheelchair. Lord, have mercy, Sean. I'm right there with you, brother. Anyway, if you want to get from point A to point B, you have a couple of choices. You can walk on a walker, walk on crutches, walk on your own, roll in your chair, take public transportation, get an Uber, or something like that. Okay? I know some of the Ubers have handicaps, some of them don't. I know in some states they're working on that. If you want something bad enough, you have to make things happen. For me, driving was not a thing. I didn't want to drive. My mom/boss/lovely lady asked me to get evaluated and try, and I did, and things happened, and I've driven a couple times. Listen, point A to point B, you got to make a decision to do what you can. No, I'm sorry, jetpacks ain't out. I ain't flying in that. They ain't got insurance. I ain't busting my head. No, thank you. I'm honestly, if I want something or I need something, I'm going to go, and I'm going to figure out how to go. And public transportation is an option, but you do have to know the system. You have to know that public transportation doesn't always arrive on time. Public transportation can be very late. I'm talking about 2 to 3 hours. Sometimes you're sitting on your butt trying to figure out where you're going to go and where you're going to get to. So you have to make a choice, okay? You have to prepare. Sometimes you have to prepare 48 to 72 hours ahead, okay? Because most transportation companies have it to where in order for you to schedule a ride, it's at least 48 hours notice, okay? Some of them are more, okay? So you have to prepare ahead of time. This is a great point. Sean right here. When requesting an Uber or a Lyft, usually they have a notes section in their apps. It's important to leave a note that's saying you need a vehicle that can hold a wheelchair either in the trunk or the back seat. Great point, Sean. Thank you very much. That is part of the prep that I'm talking about, okay? You have to take the time to get done what you need to get done. It is not just a hop, skip, and a jump to call transportation for getting things done, because there are not a lot of options out there for people with CP, people in wheelchairs, people that use medical equipment, people that have aids with them, people that have equipment that they have to carry. A lot of companies don't understand this, okay? So actions and consequences are, if you want to get something done, you have to make sure to take the time to prepare beforehand. Now, I'm going to jump around a little bit in this because I choose to. It's my show. I can do what I want. Woo! Love having my own show. actions and consequences are in everything. It's in the food we eat. It's in the sweets. It's in the people we hang around with. It's in everything. Okay? Actions and consequences when it comes to family. Okay, I want to say one phrase coming right off the top. This is not my phrase. This phrase belongs to Miss Edwina Wilson. Let me throw that out there. Everything is not for everybody, family included. Okay? Understand, if you got a family that runs their mouth, and whoever it is in that family runs their mouth about everything, and you talk about something sensitive, or you talk about something important, chances are that person or those people that run their mouth are going to run their mouth one more again. So sometimes you have to watch what you say to people. You have to watch what you do to people. Let me point this out. Actions and consequences. Words hurt. Words hurt sometimes more than getting punched in the face. Words hurt sometimes worse than getting stabbed with a knife. Words can kill. A lot of people don't think about that. Some do. CP or not, disability or not, words hurt. So the people that you're around and who you talk to, you've got to make sure that your trust level is good with them. Hey, Liz, how are you? Good afternoon. Thank you for joining. Appreciate it. You know, trust to me is the number one thing in any kind of relationship, whether it's a friendship, whether you're dating somebody, it's whether it's in family, whatever kind of relationship you're in. I don't care if you got a dog or a cat and you love your dog and your cat, you trust that dog. Okay, you trust that cat. You love them like they're your own kids because you are close to them, you are attached to them, you are emotionally involved with those animals. Now, when it comes to people, you got to be careful because I don't care if you have a disability or not. Eventually, everybody is going to let you down. Yes, Sean, it is. Emotional pain is the worst type of pain somebody will ever experience. Now, I want to, oh, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. She got the time. Yes.
Hey.
Hey, Miss Wilson.
Lord, how are you?
I am good.
Awesome.
We see now. I just said this ain't my phrase. Everything ain't for everybody. And again, we're talking about actions and consequences. So I mentioned this too. Hindsight 2020. Thank you, Corey Wilson. Lord Jesus, I'm trying to tell you.
Right.
That's gonna be a t-shirt, y'all. I'm telling you. But here's the thing. So when you tell somebody, when you're talking to family, when you're talking to friends, when you're talking to whoever you're talking to, think about what you speak before you speak it. Because once you open your mouth and it comes out,
that's it.
It's out there.
Yeah.
And Kaplika or Malika or Dasika or all them people or Joe or Billy Bob or Ray can go and it goes everywhere.
Yeah.
Now, when you're dealing with something and you're hurting, okay, and you're looking for somebody to talk to, and I said, this is key. Your trust level in this person, it's not just, you can't just trust them. You got to know them. I'm talking about at least 3-4 years, because sometimes it's those people that you trust that hurt you the most. See, because you let them in.
Yeah.
But it's not, and I'm not trying to steal all her phrases, but this is so valuable. You got to be careful what you say because you never know who else is listening. and within earshot. And all these phrases that Miss Winnie has said to me is because I wear my heart on my sleeve. There is an action and a consequence with wearing your heart on your sleeve.
It is.
Whether you realize it or not, on the Disability Global broadcast, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, on that's social media, y'all. You put stuff out there, almost said something else. Oh, Lord. You put stuff out there, people gonna read it, listen to it, share it, comment on it. If you don't want to hear what somebody has to say, don't put it out there.
Listen, it's something to that word right there that you just said. Steve Harvey said this morning in his closing. Of course, he was cursing, so I ain't gonna do that part. But he said, "Stop putting your information out there if you don't want someone to say something about it. When you put your information out there, it's out there. People are going to respond in their own perspective, in their own version, in their own way. So that's very true what you just said. When you put something out there, it's out there for the world to hear. And and people going to respond to it in the way that they hear it. So it will be good or bad, and you may and may not like the responses. So my thought is always this, in my mind, I always keep in my mind, if you put something out there, you got to be prepared for what's to come behind it. You got to be ready to receive the negativity of it or the good of it, because people are going to say what they feel.
Both.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now here's and I touched on this a little bit before Mama Miss Winnie got on the show. Y'all got sorry. I call her Mama, just deal with it. I used to focus on and maybe stop because of negativity. Now, and again, actions and consequences. I talked about this earlier. When you have something that you believe in and you have something that you're passionate about, or you're telling a story about a yellow piece of paper, and all of a sudden you have that person hooked on the other line, they could go, wait a minute, why did you? Wait a minute, how did you? Wait a minute, where did you? They could say anything they want. Okay? But just because they might say something negative, don't stop.
Right.
That was me. Okay. I before I got involved with Kelly's Choice Cares, before I got involved with my radio shows, before I learned more about myself, and great point right here, Siobhan, I'm gonna pull that up in just a second. Miss Winnie would always tell me, what are you doing it for? What's the reason you're doing it for? Are you doing it for the comments that somebody says? Or are you doing it to help somebody? Are you doing it to reach an individual? What are you doing? Have you reached an individual? Just one. Don't stop because they don't agree. Don't stop because they don't like. Show them. Keep going. Boo, bye. Remember there are negative people all throughout this world.
Yeah.
But you don't have to fall into their negativity.
Yeah.
You pull out your positivity for what you got and what you do for that purpose. Your purpose stays positive, not their actions. Don't worry about their actions. You can't control what they do. I can only control me. Right. I can only control what I say, what I do. You got a problem? Handle it yourself. Don't bring me into it. I don't want your negative stuff over here trying to tell me I can't, I won't, I don't. Well, pick up the phone, call somebody. You'll be all right. Sometimes that's all you got to do. I'm just saying.
That's all you got to do. Pick up the phone. That's it.
Lord.
That's it. Just pick up the phone. But that is very true, because when you expose yourself to the public, you just got to be prepared for whatever is to come. A lot of people just put stuff out there, don't even think about what's going to be said. You got to think about those things.
When you say come on, CP. When you say certain things, you have subjected yourself to what others have to say. A lot of people don't realize that. That's very true.
Yeah.
Because what you've done effectively, we just talked about it. You opened the door.
Yep.
You open the door, that means somebody gonna stick their head in there. Now it's your choice whether to smack the door back with them on the head so they go back the other way. But I'm just saying, not that I'm a violent person, y'all. I don't engage in that. You know, and this is always think positive, never think negative. Always put your best foot forward. Ever since I have known this wonderful woman sitting over here, I have said this and people look at me like I'm crazy. But she don't speak negative. I in 5 years of knowing her, happy birthday, by the way.
Thank you.
5 years of knowing her, I have very, very rarely, if at all, heard her speak in a negative manner. She will turn it and say, okay, I know you're thinking about this. Try this. I'm like, Miss Winnie, I was mad. I wanted to be over. Why you got to turn it, Miss Winnie? And then you think about it and you're like, dang, now I got the mindset of how you drive yourself is your action. But here it is. When you live in negativity, that's your own consequence. Understand that? If you live in negativity, you're going to produce consequence.
I don't understand why someone would want to live in negativity, though, because negativity would keep you stagnated and get you nowhere.
And see, that's the thing. There are people that are negative, and there are people that have this outlook just to pull you in this stuff. And once they get you in, they drown you in it. They drown you. That's why these simple little things. Everything is not for everybody. Be careful what you say. Be careful what you put out on social media. Words hurt. Words are powerful.
They are, yeah.
It seems like, to talk about action and consequence, you think about going into a restaurant and having a person with a disability sit down and you look at the person they're with and you say, what do they have?
Pet peeve of mine.
Oh my, excuse me? I can't talk for myself. Do you see this fork? I will stab you in the hand. How you doing? I will have a cheeseburger. That you cannot assume something that you know when you know nothing about it.
Right.
And I wonder, this is my question. To me, it is very difficult to keep a positive outlook all the time. Because there's so much negative stuff going on in the world that I you've heard me ask Miss Winnie, how in the world do you do it? I don't get it. Because it's just, I'm not a negative thinker. I tell you what, 5 years ago, I used to be. I didn't realize how negative I was on the air with the Disability Global Broadcast, y'all. I was a very negative person. Not necessarily toward people, toward myself. I would allow people to put me down, not no more. I would allow myself to put me down, not no more. I would allow someone else to stop my momentum so quick because they didn't like something I did, something I said. You can't live your life for other people. You got to live your life for you. You know the biggest consequence right there? I'm going to ask Miss Winnie a question in a minute. But you know the biggest consequence of living your life for other people? You waste most of your life and you don't even know what you've done. Now, y'all think about that. Oh, Miss Siobhan got a good one here. Oh, look at here. Hey, Miss Edwina, you would be surprised at how many people actually do not mind living in negativity. For them, it's a way to give an excuse. It's a way to garner attention. And you have to remember that there are people out there that like attention, whether it's good or bad. It's attention to them. So it's also a
mechanism.
I was having trouble with that last word.
That's all right.
But that's true. I question that. Like, what makes it so hard for a person to be so negative all the time? Miss Wayne, I hope you ain't about to blow up. Don't some people. I
Oh my
heard the
gosh.
I heard the beep, but I said Miss Wayne about to explode. Oh
You heard that?
no.
I'm like, oh my gosh. Look, I'm looking like, what's going on?
That's why I was trying to talk while you were trying to get. Woo. I
Yeah,
said,
that threw me off. I'm like, what the heck? Where that come from?
so how do you stay positive all the time? I I can't I don't want to say I can't. So far, I have found it very difficult to stay positive all the time.
You know, DJ, when you okay, so of course I'm 56, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
She 11, y'all. She 11.
so I've been through life, okay? I've had situations and circumstances and trials and tribulations and struggles, and I've experienced those things in my life. So because I was able to, lean on God and not on my own understanding to the other people to allow what has taken place to affect me, it's
Mm,
called growth, right? So sometimes you want to react to the people, you want to react to things that people have done or things that people have said, but you have to think about it. What is it going to change? What is it going to change? And if you put yourself out there and want to think
mm,
negative about everything that has happened, people have done to you, people have said, all it's going to do is make you bitter. It's going to make you angry. It's going to make you mad. It can even try to change the person you are.
mm,
You know, I refuse to allow that to happen to me. I was not built like that. And I realized over the years that is not me. I'm not a retaliator. Okay.
mhm,
And
mhm.
some people like to retaliate to say that I got them back. But getting them back is doing what? What is
Hurt,
it doing?
hurting yourself.
See,
Hurt.
last night in class, somebody made a statement. And it's funny you talking about actions and consequences because we have been talking about morals and ethics. I told you that, right?
Mm-hmm,
We have been
mm-hmm.
talking about morals and ethics and leadership. So it's funny you said something about, Kelly's choice and some of the things that I did hear until I got out the car. But when I got out the car, I didn't hear nothing else. But so you got to be careful, the things you said. But what this person said was somebody responded to one of the person's statement and said, hurt people. And I said, after he got finished talking, I said, do hurt people really hurt people?
Mm.
I said, and I say that because I'm not that hurt people. I'd rather sit back, go in silence, and leave it alone.
Let
I
it
will
figure itself out.
let it
Mm-hmm,
figure itself out. Or I'll
mm-hmm,
walk away from it and you may
mm-hmm,
never hear from me again.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Because sometimes you don't need to respond to certain things, and sometimes you have to respond to certain things.
Yeah,
But
I agree with that. I agree
there
with
is a way to come about it without being negative and without being nasty and angry and mad and pissed off because, like you said earlier, once you say something, you can't take it back.
that.
And
It's
what is
done.
apology? And I'm sorry. What is that really going to do when you really said what you meant?
Well, and here's the thing. I think a lot of people are afraid to be honest with themselves and with other people because but honesty again when you deliver it it's a way you can do that. That's why I say if you once you like you said once you say something once it comes out of your mouth like I said earlier it's out there you can't take it back. So
Mhm.
if you think before you speak if you think before you speak and you think what is the other person really gonna think this right here. I sit back and listen to the universe in silence. You'd be amazed what you can learn.
Mhm.
I have learned one thing about Edwina Wilson sitting over there. Sometimes you gotta be careful because when she ain't talking, she doing a lot. And I say that not as a bad thing,
Right.
but I will. Before I stub my toe on something, let me say this: just because I'm not speaking, again, this ain't just because I'm not speaking doesn't mean I'm not listening, watching,
Right.
learning, and understanding
Right.
what is going on. And I
Mhm.
think sometimes the best thing you can do is say nothing because that messes with people. She got me. I made me a mistake. And I'm just talking. And I brought up the mistake, and Miss Winnie just sitting there, just smiling, turn her head slightly to the side, and the next words out of her mouth were, "Well, since you brought it up, let's talk about it." I said, "Oh God!" Like, but I'm glad we did because you understand silence people cringe because they want you to fire back.
Yeah.
They want you to get into that. Um, and and in silence, you learn a lot about yourself because I can understand now the action and consequence part of this right here, what we're talking about. I think sometimes when people say too much, you're trying to cram a lot in a little space. But sometimes, and forgive me for saying this, when you sit back, shut up, and listen, you don't only learn about the situation that's going on, you learn about you. And you learn about, well, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. Maybe there was a better way to go about it. Because sometimes it's too late. Bringing up the hindsight 2020, you done involved yourself in everything and trying to, mm-mm, no, handle it, no, no.
And you have to be consequences, actions, consequences. And you have to be and learn to be accountable for your own actions.
I think that word right there is the number one word in my life. You got to hold yourself accountable for what you do. Everybody has to do it,
Yeah.
from myself to Miss Wilson to
Yep.
everybody in the entire world. And when you hold yourself accountable and you realize, look, I'm sorry I made a mistake. I shouldn't have, and it takes when you really apologize, it takes time. You can't just say I'm sorry and let it be done. Some people can do that. I can't do that. I got to admit why. I got to go into what it is. I'm sorry for. What are you sorry for? I can say sorry. I mean, I'm sorry for wearing a red shirt. I should have worn blue. What are you sorry for? Because when you can admit to a person where they're hurting and you've done something to them, and you can say, I did this because I saw this. This was my way of thinking. And then they come back, why did you put yourself in that situation? I don't know. It sometimes you don't know the answer to the question.
You don't.
And,
Mm-mm.
and
Sometimes.
please don't say you know the answer if you don't know.
Mm-mm.
I don't know everything. I sure don't. That's why I call me when he almost. I don't know everything. I sure don't. Mm-mm. But I do want to read this here. Beautiful comment. I can relate about the whole social media thing because I had an ex that did it to me, and it's put me through emotional and mental trauma with it. As many times I have wanted to post something to retaliate back. I didn't because I had to be a stronger person. But I
Yes.
have gotten a lot of moral support from his friends, though. And understand, because you didn't, you were the stronger person because all and that action
Right.
and consequences too. You
Mm-hmm.
feed into that stuff. You
Mm-hmm.
feed, and when you do that, that's a whole. lot of mess that
Mhm.
you don't. Negativity drags you down, and when you start with negativity, it's always one little thing. But ever since I said it, I said I start to speak something, or if I start to, because I'll still do it every once in a while, and Miss Winnie will go, don't give it an opportunity. When you speak it, you give it power.
Yeah.
See, y'all got to go back to the word on that one. And y'all, I preached last week. I ain't going this week. I said, y'all, I, it's amazing what words give. Words give action.
Yeah.
Understand? Words give
And
power.
what words can do, and the tongue is power. So you got to be careful with that tongue. I'd rather sit back than to speak on what I may be feeling at that particular time.
Mm.
Because one thing about me, I don't like regretting anything. I don't want to regret nothing. So when I say something, it's going to be what I mean, and I'm going to be okay with it because I thought about it first. Some
That's the
people
hardest
like
part
to
for me.
speak.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, some people like to speak before they listen. But if
Mm-hmm.
you listen before speaking too quick, the results will be so much better.
It's not even it's that last part that you talked about. I'm gonna be okay with what I say, because I listen to it. But I regret. I try not to, but a lot of times, even in the small things, I'll question it, and it's, I guess it's because, and maybe that's an insecurity, maybe not. I don't know. Um, but I regret for me. That's a big one. Not necessarily in what I've done, but I wonder. I don't like hurting people. I mean, because when they hurt, I hurt, and sometimes I carry the unnecessary stuff that I don't need to carry because I'm so worried about them. But did I do it? Did I cause it? I don't want to be the main cause of the hurt. And Kim, yep, I've learned the hard way. I learned it's okay to apologize for my your own mistake. It's not necessarily apologizing. Sometimes it's just admitting it. Sometimes,
Admitting, being accountable for your actions.
mhm,
Because again, with actions, there is and will be consequences.
on everything.
It's that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Ooh wee. This been a while, y'all. I ain't had this video up here for a while. Y'all don't understand. I got goosebumps. I'm glad I wore a shirt. I'm cold.
You know,
but it's so simple about looking at life, and the timing of everything is so powerful. And I you know I felt so bad for Miss Brownisha because I was excited about having the Brown part two, and immediately 5 minutes before the show she had a family emergency, had to cancel. And I thought, what am I going to do? And I I thought about it, and I said, actions and consequences. And when I did, I immediately said, I gotta send Miss Winnie this link because I need her up here. Because see, and I asked you a question. I'm gonna read this in just a second. I asked you a question earlier,
mhm.
and you kind of answered it as far as as to why.
Okay, hold on. Let me end it with I've learned to be humble. And because I learned to be humble, I'm no longer a negative person. I don't speak negativity and I don't listen to negativity and I don't receive or accept negativity. If you come around me or in front of me and on the phone with me and I hear it, I'm going to turn it around because it's not acceptable. You got to, if you hear it so many times, that thing could consume you and you would become that negative message or
Mhm.
thing that's being poured at you. If you speak it and say it so many times, you can become of that whatever it was that was spoken.
You drag yourself into it.
Yes, and you
Hmm.
do not want to do that. So you want to learn to think about things first and turn that negative thought that may be in your mind, head, or live written in your space, or the person that's bringing it to you. Turn that thing around. No, I'm not receiving this today. No,
Hmm.
we're gonna turn that thing around. So I've learned to be humble, DJ, and with that, I no longer receive, accept negativity. And it's been years since I've been like this.
Y'all know what just happened. I was getting ready to ask her. I was getting ready to ask her, was there a point, or what point was it to be humble? Now we got about 5 minutes in the show, so final thoughts real quick. But I want to say this: be accountable for what you do, be accountable for what you say, but be accountable to yourself for your own actions. Okay? Everybody makes mistakes. Nobody is perfect. Okay? When you've spoken about a mistake or something that happens, there comes a time when you've got to move forward from it. Okay? Miss Winnie talked about this a little bit earlier. Sometimes you got to go in silence. Sometimes you got to investigate yourself. Sometimes you got to go through what you go through, process the
Examine
information,
yourself.
and then once you're done and once you're there, that's it. Wash your hands of it. Now I will say this. Again, I said it earlier in the show, but I want to point this out, and I know big comments are coming in. Everything is not for everybody. Please be careful what you put on social media. If you don't want somebody to comment on it positively, negatively, whatever the comment's going to come, don't put it out there. Think about what you put on social media. Think about it, because the platforms are everywhere. Lastly, believe in yourself. Believe in yourself, know your worth, know what you are, know who you are, and know that you can accomplish anything you set your mind to. There are no small parts, only small actors. No small parts. In this world, I've learned you go for it 100%, and as long as you go for it 100%, that's all you can do. Miss Winnie, what you got? Anything? Ooh, did she freeze? I think she froze. That's all right. I really want to thank everybody for being part of this. I want to thank Miss Winnie and the Disability Global Broadcast. I want to thank all of my viewers for tuning in and commenting. Guys, please, 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 please keep watching, keep sharing, keep finding, keep searching. If you would like to be a guest on the show, you can email me at carterdj85@gmail.com. Please put in the subject line, guest on My CP Does Not Define Me. Send me a bio about yourself. Send me a picture that I can use. Please make sure that you do this. I am booked. I have 2 Wednesdays in November left, so I am actually getting ready to book into December. So I will say this. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for being a part of this. You can catch me on 3 YouTubes. My CP Does Not Define Me, Chairmaster Games, and Worth the Wait Cooking with DJ Carter. You can catch me on Twitter. My CP Does Not Define Me. Instagram, My CP Does Not Define Me. My blog, CarterDJ85@Wix.com. Thank y'all so much. I always say Wednesday at 2 o'clock. If you can't be good, be bad, but be good at it. This is D to the J with the roll away. And I will see you on the next Wednesday at 2 o'clock. Looking forward to seeing you later. Take it easy, guys.
All right, everybody. That's going to do it for this week's episode of My CP Does Not Define Me. As always, you can catch us every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on the Disability Global Broadcast and Facebook Live. If you haven't already checked out our YouTube channel, My CP Does Not Define Me, we post all of the show videos in our My CP playlist. I'm your host, D to the J with the roll away. And if you can't be good, be bad, but be good at it. We'll see you next week.